All right, hello again from Visalia. Cool story. That's the pool that I grew up learning how to swim in. Back home for a little pit stop here, about 24 hours before hitting the road again. This is how the postseason works. And I'm taking the opportunity to not have to sit in front of a computer screen any longer than I have to now that the season's over. So do a show out by the pool here in Central California. Today, we're going to talk about Drake Jackson and Nick Bosa. I had a big piece that came out on The Athletic about these two players, especially Drake Jackson, because he was inactive over the course of the 49ers' last 4 football games. And, you know, people forget how grueling and how long these NFL marathons are. 20 games the 49ers have played in each of the past 2 seasons. Consider the fact that Drake Jackson played a max of 11 games in a season when he was in college at USC. And also remember that Drake Jackson is only 21 years old. He's a baby compared to some of the grown men that he's playing against in the NFL. So Kyle Shanahan, after I asked him about Drake Jackson yesterday, he gave me a really, really good answer, honest answer. He said that Drake wasn't powerful enough at the end of the season. As a 21-year-old, he came out with some of that youthful energy early on. He had 3 sacks over the first 6 games. Everything was looking really promising, but he lost some of that strength over the course of the year. It's challenging in the NFL. You've got to keep up your weightlifting regimen even when you're beaten up, when you're tired. And then you go into games 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. I mean, it takes me a while to count that high. Imagine how, your body is going to respond if you're just getting beaten up and you're not able to keep up with your strength building regimen. You're going to lose power over the course of the season. And Drake Jackson lost some power over the course of this season. Now it's also, I think, some veiled code from Kyle Shanahan, very thinly veiled code saying that he needs to be better against the run. And that goes hand in hand with power, right? But the 49ers defense starts with stopping the run. And when you stop the run, you earn the right to rush the passer. And unfortunately for Drake Jackson and the 49ers, the rookie, especially down the stretch when he lost a little bit of power, he was a bit of a liability against the run. But it's so important that Drake Jackson now leaves and puts in 6 to 7 good months of conditioning and strength work so that he's ready for the challenge next year, because he hit the rookie wall this year, which is not uncommon. So many players hit that rookie wall, but it's so important that he does overcome it heading into this next season because the 49ers need him bad. This is what I wrote about. Their defensive line was not as good as it was in 2019, maybe even 2021. I mean, the sack rate for the 49ers dropped precipitously. Sack rate dropped from, a number 5 ranking in the NFL to something that was right around midway down the league rankings. The pressure rate also dropped. I mean, Nick Bosa put up his best year yet, but the supporting cast without Arden Key this year was nowhere near as good as it was in 2021, and it didn't even hold a candle to the D Ford glory days with DeForest Buckner also on the team back in 2019. So the 49ers, they've gotten better at linebacker. They've gotten better in the secondary. I've talked about all that. But to make this defense truly elite, the pass rush needs to be elite again, and it wasn't this past year. The keys to that reside in Drake Jackson's hands. Nick Bosa led the league with 18.5 sacks. Just imagine if Drake Jackson turns into an every down monster opposite Nick Bosa. Doesn't even have to be a monster, just has to be a good, solid edge rusher on the other side. And this year, after the first 6 games when he wore down, Drake Jackson wasn't that. But he still has the bend. He still has the length. He still has the athleticism. You see him do a standing backflip at, what was it, 270 pounds at USC? He still has all the tools to be able to do that. And we saw it over the first part of the year. It's not like Solomon Thomas, where we didn't see anything from him early on. We saw the potential from Drake Jackson to get after the passer early on. He just ran out of gas. So this offseason is so important for him and for the 49ers, because if they can find that bookend to Nick Bosa, oh boy, is this defense going to sing. Now they need a little bit more, and I put up some of those graphics, and I'll share some of them later on as well when I'm back in front of a computer screen. You talk about the interior defensive line. They weren't good enough. Eric Armstead missed a good part of the year, so he was their 1+ pass rusher from the inside. Obviously, Javon Kinlaw's been disappointing. I don't think that they got much plus production pass rushing wise from somebody like Kevin Givens. There's a reason by the end of the season they're kind of calling up guys like Michael Dwumfor to get a little bit of a boost. So the 49ers need more from the inside as well. But it's that bookending spot to Nick Bosa that, if the 49ers figure that out adequately, that spot is going to be able to generate the type of roaring edge rush that the Philadelphia Eagles, for example, terrorized the 49ers with, right? Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick. They had two of those guys. They had more than two. They're deep, but those are the two headliners for the Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys also were bringing in a lot of heat from the edge. The 49ers happened to face the two best pass rushes in the league over the final 2 weeks of the regular season. It obviously wrecked the 49ers up front, got their quarterbacks hurt there against the Eagles, but the 49ers want to bring the same type of heat next year. And to do that, they're going to have to complement Nick Bosa. And to complement Nick Bosa, well, the best bet is Drake Jackson because he's already under contract. Charles Omenihu, Sansa Ebukam, Jordan Willis, all those guys, they're pending free agents. Maybe the 49ers bring back some of them, maybe not all of them. But the main takeaway is that edge rushers, they're like quarterbacks. They don't come onto free agency very often. They're expensive to acquire in this league. It's going to be hard to get somebody that's a true difference maker from outside of the building and bring him in this offseason. And that includes the draft because the 49ers don't have a pick until late in the third round. So you better make do with what you already have on the football team. And Drake Jackson's already on the football team. They drafted him to be that complement to Nick Bosa. Year 2, they hope it certainly will happen. We should never count players out too early for developmental purposes. People made this mistake with Aaron Banks last year. I think that Drake Jackson shouldn't be somebody that people sleep on entering year 2. But that's just me. That's just my appraisal of the situation here from Visalia. Like I said, this is the pool that I grew up learning how to swim in. I got an elite breakfast burrito earlier this morning from Component Coffee in Visalia. I'm going to splice that into this video right when I finish this and I do a quick little edit on my phone. But go to Component Coffee, downtown Visalia, Main Street. You're going to love it. This is a cool little town. I mean, I lived here from 1988 to 2006 when I went off to college in the Bay Area. So a lot of good memories in Visalia, a lot of good memories in this pool, and I'm happy to bring it all to you. This is going to be an off season of a lot of travel. The shows are going to be in cool spots. We're going to bring you cool food, good breakfast burritos, good lunch sandwiches, good dinner spots, good everything. But first stop, fittingly, had to be the hometown of Visalia as we talk about Nick Bosa and the 49ers. All right, everybody, thanks for joining.